There's a whole bunch of stuff that went on last night at the NFL draft. Somehow, some way, Kirk Cousins is the lead story instead of Caleb Williams, the #1 overall pick. I mean, how the hell did that happen? We'll talk about that. Plus, NBA playoff action is fantastic. I got Tim Legler coming on to the show. I got Micah Parsons coming on to the show. I got a couple of other things that I'm talking about, along with a couple of surprise guests that get on my last damn nerves. But it was necessary for the audience to see who the hell I'm talking about. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show as we go into the weekend, y'all, and I got attitude. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do at the very least 3 times a week over the digital airwaves of YouTube. By the way, let me take a moment to show my appreciation and love for all the support that I'm receiving from my followers. We have now exceeded over 630,000 subscribers. Can't thank y'all enough for the love. Keep it coming, and I'm going to keep on coming. To continue to like and follow the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on YouTube, just click the bell and get notified for all of our new content. And bam, you will be the newest member of the Stephen A. Smith Show family. And while you're doing that, don't forget to pick up a copy of my New York Times best-selling book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. Now in paperback, by the way. Just go to straightshooterbook.com to get yourself a copy. That's straightshooterbook.com. Let me get started right now because I got a whole bunch of stuff. Like I told you, Micah Parsons is coming on to the show. Tim Legler is coming on the show. Got NFL and NBA covered. Let's get it started right now with the NFL draft, where the Atlanta Falcons, of all teams, stunned the football world last night by picking University of Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 overall. The move follows Atlanta signing Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract with a $100 million guarantee just a few weeks ago. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot and head coach Raheem Morris stressed this morning that Cousins is still the Falcons' starting quarterback. Cousins' agent says he was, quote-unquote, confused about the pick, and they weren't notified until right before the selection. Respectfully, who gives a shit? I don't care. You shouldn't care either. Kirk Cousins is a career 1-3 in the playoffs in 12 seasons as a quarterback in the National Football League. That Kirk Cousins. But that's not even why I'm saying you shouldn't care. The biggest reason I'm saying it is the $100 million guaranteed, the $180 million contract, straight off an Achilles injury that was surgically repaired in November, and it's presumed he's going to be all right, but we don't know. What are we talking about here? What is this, Dear Abby? Is it Dr. Phil session? I don't give a damn whether or not Kirk Cousins was informed. You got the money. Clearly the investment has been made. Clearly you're going to have an opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Penix Jr. probably is a year or two away in most people's eyes. And if he's put into the situation sooner, it's because you ain't been out playing him in practice. What's that about? This is the kind of stuff that drives me insane. Why are we having a heightened level of sensitivity because Kirk Cousins wasn't called? You just got to Atlanta. You ain't played down for them yet. You just had surgery in November. You ain't played down for them yet. This is an Atlanta Falcons team that 5 of the last 6 years has won 7 games. A 4-12 record in between that. They ain't been in the playoffs since they lost in the divisional playoff game since 2017. And you giving a damn about Kirk Cousins' feelings? Bump his feelings. You getting paid, ain't you? You gonna show up in training camp, ain't you? You got the starting job for now, don't you? Hold on to it. Hold on to it. It's a risky pick by the Atlanta Falcons, no doubt, and I get that. Flip side to it, however, is that you want to ensure that you got a quarterback, you got that quarterback position secured for close to the next decade if you could pull it off. If that's what they believe in when they look at Michael Penix Jr., God bless him. The brother was in the national title game last year. He is considered an incredibly accurate passer. Big hands with pocket presence, has a feel for the pocket, knows how to avoid the rush. I'm looking at all of those things and I'm like, okay, it's a worthy pick. It's a worthy risk. Stop tripping and stop worrying about Kirk Cousins' feelings. That $100 million he's guaranteed over the next 4 years, he'll be fine. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Let's move on to the next topic, okay? And that's to the top of the draft. The Bears took USC quarterback Caleb Williams with the first overall selection, looking to build upon their 7-10 record from last season. As for the second pick, the Commanders selected quarterback Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Daniels seems like an ideal fit for Washington, D.C., a.k.a. Chocolate City. Didn't I tell y'all this the other day? Drake May went number 3 to New England. I could give less than a damn. There was no way in hell that the nation's capital, the District of Columbia, and its outer parts was going to tolerate the Commanders going in a different direction than this brother Jaden Daniels, who was at LSU, who played in the SEC, who went up against the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world, etc. They going with that. Not a brother out of North Carolina like Mitchell Trubisky was years ago, when teams, picked him and bypassed Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, mainly the Chicago Bears at the time. That wasn't going to happen. So they made the right pick. I think both of these brothers are in a good situation. Obviously, Dan Quinn is the new head coach in the nation's capital. They got new ownership in Josh Harris. They got a guy like Magic Johnson that's a part of the ownership group. They've got some talent there. Let's see what they do. In the case of the Chicago Bears, you got Cole Kmet at the tight end spot. You got DJ Moore at one wide receiver spot, and Keenan Allen at another. You drafted the number 9 pick. This could, or Dunze, I think that's how you pronounce his name, also who played at Washington. And this brother's considered big time. You look at the wide receivers they have available to them, along with the tight end, along with the fact that they got DeAndre Swift that's a free agent that came over from Philadelphia. You look at all of those things, and I got to tell you, the bottom line is Chicago's a little bit loaded. They really, really are. But enough about that from me. Let's talk to somebody else. Dallas Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons apparently didn't enjoy the draft. He was dismayed last year when the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jordan Davis, who ended up as a Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. And then last night, Parsons had a similar reaction when the Eagles selected quarterback Quinyon Mitchell with the 22nd overall pick. Check this out, y'all.
Micah, how you feeling? I mean, I'm honestly utterly disgusted on how lucky the Eagles are. It's just like Chris, I do not know how he fell that far with this run of offensive tackles and quarterbacks. That's the only thing that makes sense. I thought he was a top 15, top 12 talent, and he just fell right into their laps.
And he was your favorite player?
He was definitely one of my more favorite players in this draft. Like I said, he rose in every bar. He hit he checked every box.
Joining me now to talk about his feelings in the draft is the man himself. All-world, all-pro linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, the one and only Micah Parsons. What's up, big time? How you doing, man? How you feeling, my man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling blessed, bro. I feel amazed every year and blessed every year that I'm still able to be in this league and play with fellow comrades. So just extremely blessed and blessed to be on the show.
Well, first of all, I'm happy to have you on the show. I've gotten over being mad at you for beating up on people during NBA All-Star Weekend when you won the MVP award. I mean, my Lord, you ran over men, women, and children. You didn't give a damn about anything. They put you and Puka Nacua. Don't even get me started with y'all right now. But I'm going to let it go. It took me a couple of months, but I'm going to let it go right now. I'm going to let it go. When you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and their luck, talk to me about the level of frustration you're feeling, because obviously Dallas wasn't in a position to do but so much when you compare it to the position that the Eagles were in. How much did that play a role in your frustrations?
You got to think, when you're a later pick, it's more of a blessing. I think we did a damn good job last year playing good football. But, it's not necessarily luck. It's just how things fall. When the dominoes fall, sometimes people are just more blessed than others. And the Eagles made some great trades, picked up some great people in the last couple of years, and it's took them pretty far. So, and unfortunately, because the QB need and the QB, how good this QB class was and O-line class was, a player that significantly would make their roster better fell right to him. So, it's a little bit of luck, but it's also how well their higher-ups have been.
Well, see, and that's where I'm going, because, I care about you. I care about you, man. I got your best interest at heart, Micah Parsons. I don't want you miserable, my brother. I want you happy. But I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. Not only was draft night successful for them, remember they acquired Saquon Barkley, Obviously, you guys, I thought, was in need of a quarterback, of a running back at the very least. That didn't necessarily happen. Derrick Henry ends up going to Baltimore, doesn't come to Dallas. Saquon Barkley comes to Philadelphia, doesn't come to Dallas. And you just brought up decisions by the front office or whatever. How worried are you about your Cowboys this season?
I'm not worried about it at all, Steve. And you know why? We got 6 or 7 All-Pros still on our team. We didn't really have none of our big pieces leaving. CD Lamb's still there, Dak Prescott's still there, I'm still there, DeRon Bland's still there, Trayvon Diggs still there, Zach Martin's still there. And we got a lot of Pro Bowl talents. Think about our kicker, our returners. We still have a great amount of talent, and we're just thinking about the future. I think Will McClay and them, they started to draft off really well, drafting Tyler Guyton. We needed O-line depth, obviously, since Kyron decided to walk. But I think decisions will be made and things will be acquired before the season, and we'll be right in good hands. At the end, we kind of know who they're going to try to build around. So I'm not too worried about where we're started, just how we're going to finish and how we're going to start the year. That's all that matters.
You talked about what you're going to try to build around. Obviously, that's the man himself, Dak Prescott, who's in line to get about $55 to $60 million. How are you feeling about that, Micah Parsons?
I'm feeling good about it. Dak
Really?
very much well deserved it. He was a second team All-Pro, should have been first in my eyes. Dak has the caliber and the talent to do wonderful things. We just have to put it all together come playoffs. Not just him, but everyone defensively, receivers, everyone. We have to put it together. Not one man can carry it all.
All joking aside, I got to ask this question. And this is not about Dak Prescott. This is about the quarterback position within the National Football League. As a guy that the Dallas Cowboys just exercised their 5th-year option on, basically locking you in through 2025, it's one of those situations I'm looking at the quarterback spot and considering it's a hard cap in the National Football League and how one position being paid an exorbitant amount of dollars can cost other cats from getting paid. How do you feel about the money that's allocated to quarterbacks? Again, in fairness to you, I'm not talking about Dak Prescott. I'm talking about any NFL team, anybody that you talk about. How does an NFL player who is not a quarterback feel about how quarterbacks are paid in this day and age in the National Football League?
Well, I think it's like any position. If you're getting paid a lot of money, you damn well sure need to prove that you worth a lot of money. You feel me? Yep. And I hate to say that nobody deserves their money, but sometimes I think we do pay mediocrity. I think there's very few quarterbacks that I think there's a separation in each position, but nowadays we kind of pay for where every player is at, and I think some GMs even have disagreements in that. So I definitely think there's certain quarterbacks in this league where you're like, man, he's worth every penny. He carries that workload. He carries that team, and they're winning. And there's certain quarterbacks that just get paid just because they're a quarterback. I think even the fans feel that. I think, and it's not just quarterback. That goes for a lot of positions. There's guys who, haven't even had consistent 10-plus sack seasons, and they still getting a boatload of money, and I think consistency is the name of the game. And, when you're just not as consistent, it's hard to vouch for that, and it kind of messes the money up. It kind of makes, GMs hesitant to pay players and things like that. But it's a tough position, bro, because I think everyone deserves to get paid. We play one of the toughest sports in the world. But at the same time, when you get paid, the fans expect, and the higher-ups expect a certain level of consistency and dominance on the field.
When you say consistency and dominance on the field, are we just talking about regular season or the postseason?
Well, really both. I think when you're a high-caliber player, you especially, and this goes for anyone, but if you're a high-caliber player, your fans want to see you succeed during the season because it lets you know what you're about to prepare to see in the postseason, especially in the postseason, because that's really what matters. I don't think no higher up or GM is paying a player to, have a lot of success during the regular season because that doesn't bring anything into the building. I know that every GM and every owner wants to see, a heavy piece of metal come into the building. So I think that should be concluded as well.
Well, since you think that could be concluded, let me get back on you about this. Dak Prescott, 2-5 in playoffs. Kirk Cousins, 1-3 career in 12 seasons in the playoffs. But nevertheless, these brothers are going to get paid, are getting paid, et cetera, et cetera. So again, when somebody asks a question about their postseason production, you are one person that I got to get up there and put this on Front Street. I don't hear anyone supporting Dak Prescott more than you. Nobody. I gotta put that out there. You support your quarterback come hell or high water, privately, publicly. You don't bend on it at all. You are a big-time Dak Prescott supporter. I'm looking at all of these quarterbacks. Whoever doesn't perform in the postseason, what level of culpability do we get to hold against them, particularly based on what you're saying?
Well, I think, as much as it is about a player's success, it's all about team success. You got to look at the teams that they had, what cost them, right? Like, I think a lot more goes into games than just the quarterback's play.
Okay.
There's quarterback. You could throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Look at Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
He throws for almost 400 yards. He almost damn near has a perfect game besides that one fumble, and they still lose the game. Because why? They couldn't get a stop on defense. Did we say, oh, that's Jalen Hurts' fault, or did we say the Eagles just lost? I feel like they have the position where whether the team plays a complete game or not, because and you can say that for the Super Bowl this year. If Patrick Mahomes' defense doesn't get them crucial stops, or if they don't make Purdy throw it out of bounds, if Chris Jones doesn't come unblocked, and yes, it's an error on their offensive line, everything works together. If Chris Jones doesn't come unblocked, do they score a touchdown right there? We saw the film. Brandon Ayuk was wide open, right?
Yep.
Everyone works in tandem. So it can't always be a quarterback, and then obviously Patrick Mahomes goes down at the end of the game to win the game. But in that moment, that's a Patrick Mahomes. But and the rear view, you see Chris Jones, and in the extreme rear view, you see an O-lineman forget his responsibilities and slide the wrong way. So, it's just one of them things, man. Like, it really has a lot to do with the full team and everyone doing their responsibility. It just can't be one man or 2 individuals. There has to be a unit, right? And there's 3 units on each side of the ball. You got the O-line, you got the quarterback, and then you got the receiver. And same with defense. So it has to work in tandem. Like, I can't get a sack unless my guys give me a coverage, right?
Right.
I have to be great coverage matched with great rush. And that's why you only see, you play over 1,000 snaps a year, if you're lucky, 700 to 1,000 snaps. And you see 14 of them is going to be a sack, right? That's what you call it. It's like, it's a tough game. It has to be perfection.
So with that being said, considering you and what you just articulated, looking at yourself right now, the Dallas Cowboys picked up the 5th-year option on you. You happy about that? You upset you didn't get a long-term deal? How are you feeling right now?
No, because I know the possibility of me getting a long-term deal is real high. And, you just got to play the cards you dealt. If Jerry wants to see more out of me, I'm going to give him more. I've shown I've been increasing and getting better and better every year. We got a new DC. I love what he's doing right now with what he's showing me. So if that's what you want to see, I'm going to show him. The old school time, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Right.
So, I don't think I play for Jerry or them. I play a lot for the fans, and I play a lot for myself. Like, me not playing to the level that I expect of greatness, that hurts me more than I believe it hurts, Jerry or anyone else.
Do you feel the criticism aimed towards you in light of y'all postseason loss to Green Bay? Do you think that was valid, or do you think there's a whole bunch of things that people were missing as it pertained to what was going on the field, particularly when you got 2 or 3 defenders on yourself?
Yeah, I take full accountability because, I do want to make plays. I do want to make them crucial stops. But there's also things that people aren't worried about, that people don't see in the rearview mirror, that some people can kind of see through the BS.
Right.
And, it's tough because you can't really explain and you can't really tell people the whole truth.
Right.
You kind of got to keep it political.
You're right.
But at the end of the day, one thing, the good players do, you just got to take ownership. So I take full ownership for the loss. I don't put it on nobody. I just feel like I got to do a better job of getting people prepared. I got to be more prepared and things like that.
Is it fair to say that you were disgusted last night watching the NFL draft because you watched the Eagles get better? You lost your defensive coordinator to being a head coach with the Washington Commanders. You see Green Bay and Detroit still there. Chicago's up their talent level. Minnesota obviously drafted a quarterback, and they still got Jefferson and Addison, all those boys. San Francisco ain't going away. Are you scouring the NFC and saying, damn, I'm a little bit worried?
The NFC just got better, but at the end of the day, you gotta look at where those position got where they at in their position and where we're at. Caleb Wood, they reset their QB clock, so the the Chicago Bears can do a whole lot in the next 3 years because their quarterback is making in 4 or 5 years what he could be making in 1 year. And probably more than that because the QB market's at 50 million, 55, 60 million, and Caleb Williams' 4-year contract with his options probably about 40 million. So, they have a whole lot of room to work with. They can make these moves. They did a great job over the past couple of years with drafting. But, in the past 3 years, we've been a 12-5 and playoff team. So we're in a whole different tax bracket. Detroit have just now came along. They were in the downhill for a while. And when I first came in the league, they were 1-16 and things like that. So these teams are all trying to get where the Dallas Cowboys are, respectfully. The hard part about this league is sustaining and being consistent with it. And we're at the point where we're paying a guy 55 million, or we're about to. So it's a complete different position. And Jared Goff isn't. He's still playing at a high level, but him and Dak's contracts are completely different. Obviously, because it's the LA trade with Stafford.
Yep.
And, they just got a lot more to work with. The Green Bay Packers, they reset their clock. Aaron Rodgers still isn't there on that $55 million QB deal. So they can, afford to make them type of moves with the Packers.
Right.
So, the grass isn't always greener. You got to understand the full term of contracts, what's going on, who's making money, the cash flow, and things like that. Even the Eagles, Jalen Hurts' cash flow isn't as high as Dak Prescott's is. He's probably, you know how they do it. They kind of keep it medium, and then in the end, it's a big bundle, and the Eagles probably face problems down that road eventually too.
So with all of that being said, what advice, what words, what questions, anything that you want to put, any way you want to put it, what would you say to Jerry Jones at this particular moment in time, scouring the NFC, knowing the opposition that you got to go up against for this upcoming season? What would you say to Jerry and Stephen Jones if you haven't said it to them already?
Oh, man, I would just say, man, let's just build this defense up, man. I think at the end of the day, as dominant as that draft was in offense, you know why they're drafting offensive tackles? You know why they're trying to get quarterbacks? Because we punish them. At the end of the day, defense will always be the key. Them guys are trying to protect their quarterbacks. Think about the quarterback injuries that happened last year, and they want some new, fresh old linemen to come in and try to shake things up. But guess what? They still got Myles Garrett. They still got me. They still got T.J. Watt. We still got, all these elite pass rushers in this league that's coming for them, man. And, they want to make it seem like, offense is so spectacular. But nah, man, I'll forever believe defense wins championships.
You know you lost Stephon Gilmore, right? And Trayvon Diggs is coming back after an injury, right? You just gonna gloss over that. You're gonna gloss over that.
I know what Trayvon Diggs is. I know how hard he's working to get back. I know what he's putting in. I can't wait for him to have back that energy, them turnovers he creates, how he plays the game is just so contagious. And also, we still got Deron Bland. We got Jordan Lewis back. We still got Malik Hooker. We still got Wanye Thomas. We still got DeMarcus Lawrence. We got Sam Williams that's going to step up. We got a whole bunch of players with a lot of ability. And Gilmore still hasn't got picked up yet, so it might not be too late.
You said don't you need some beef? Don't you need some big boys? I mean, y'all quick, lightning quick, tremendously athletic, but size, girth in the National Football League. Some people said y'all lack that. Don't y'all need that?
Hey, we got day 2 and 3. We just picked up an extra 3rd-round pick, so we got 3 picks today, and we got a chance to do that. So I'm super excited about that. And then don't forget about post-June cut. We're going to get that type of salary cap fixed. We're going to have some money that cleared up, and we're going to go get some guys.
So is that your way of saying you think y'all going to still win the NFC East, even though you were utterly disgusted watching the Eagles improve their roster last night?
Listen, I keep telling you, that it isn't about talent. It's about perfection. It don't matter how much talent you got, and we see that in the Super Bowl. We see that in the past couple Super Bowls. It don't matter how much talent you got. It's about coaching and players buying in and playing at a high level on one particular day.
So y'all going to win the NFC East?
Hey, I'm not putting nothing out there, but we definitely coming. I hope y'all don't think the Dallas Cowboys just roll over. We ain't never been that, and I ain't never been that to just roll over for nobody. I don't care who you got.
Well,
We coming.
I know you don't roll over for nobody, but I know you do roll over people, including women. Are you willing to admit here on this show right now that you beat up my team? Y'all cheated with a bunch of ringers for NBA All-Star Weekend. Are you willing to admit that?
No, because you had everybody, and you said I
Everybody.
wasn't.
Who?
What? Oh my gosh, your team was stacked with WNBA players and all type of MVPs,
And you beat them up. You brought football rules to the basketball game. You should have been caught about 5 offensive fouls.
and I told you I would. And I told you I would.
You did tell me that. You did say you said you was gonna run right over them. You said they out there, then they gotta fall prey just like everybody else, and you not gonna get calls against you. So that means you talked to the officials before the game. Is that what you're trying to tell me now?
I did not talk to no officials. I beat you fair and square. You just wasn't ready for the line as usual. And I'm gonna come and show out every time. You thought CJ Stroud was gonna carry you.
I thought he was.
He said all those false lies. Said I dropped 40s. The jumper wasn't there. I took it away, and he was very minimal.
Man, get out of here, man. It's good talking to you, man. It's good seeing you, man. We gonna catch up soon. I'm coming down to Dallas, man. I'm coming down to Dallas. I'm still waiting to come on a podcast with you and CD. You can bring Dak too. I'm not running from anybody. I'm good with it.
Listen, I'm gonna have my first show 2 weeks before the season start. I'm gonna have you come on when you see what our team looks like, and we're gonna see what Stephen A. got to say.
You need me to fly to Dallas? You need me to fly to Dallas for that?
No, I don't think you need to fly down. We'll set it up. We'll coordinate.
I'm not scared. I'll come down. I'll come down to Dallas. Dallas ain't a bad place to be. It really isn't.
Man, come down to Oxnard.
Okay, I can do that too. Wherever you need.
So you can see what it looks like.
Wherever you need. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks a lot, my man.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. The one and only Micah Parsons in the house with yours truly, Stephen A. Coming up next, the rich just got richer. Did y'all see who the Chiefs drafted last night? We'll get into that. Plus, the LeBron and the Lakers are just one game away from their season ending. I've got my man Tim Legler on deck to talk about that too. Next up, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Don't go away. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is, right? It's time for Stephen A's Weekly Picks. You see, I've teamed up with Prize Picks to bring you my favorite picks for every big-time game or sporting event. Prize Picks, in case you didn't know, is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game where you select 2 or more players and predict if they will have more or less than their stat projections for the game. Pick the stats for Embiid, Mookie Betts, or even Phil Mickelson, and then you know what you do after that? You sit back and you watch. It's not only incredibly easy to play, it also takes only 60 seconds to make your picks. That is less time than it takes Damian Lillard to spot up and hit a game-winning 3, because you know he's capable of that, right? So go to prizepicks.com and use promo code SAS for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. You heard me. Go to prizepicks.com right now. Type in my initials SAS to get a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And if you go to Prize Picks app, you'll be able to see my picks for the day. So now let's look at today's winning picks, all right? First up, Russell Westbrook. More or less than 11.5 points/rebounds. The combination of both going up against Dallas on the road, game 3, an experienced veteran like himself, starving for another championship, and Energizer Bunny for the Los Angeles Clippers. Could he combine to score 11.5 with points and rebounds? You damn right it's more. More for Russell Westbrook. That's an easy one right there. Rudy Gobert, let's move on to him. To center for the Minnesota Timberwolves, in line to win his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award. More or less than 27.5 points, rebounds, or assists. Well, first of all, he's going to get about 15 rebounds. Let's get that out the way right now. Is he going to score about 12 points or whatever? Sure. I don't know how many assists he's had, but I'm still going to go with less. I think when you look at Rudy Gobert, 27.5, I think that in terms of points and rebounds, he can come close. I don't see the brother having an assist personally. I'm not going with that. Let's go to the next one right now, please. Kevin Durant, KD Trey. More or less than 10.5 rebounds, assists. He's going to get his rebounds. He's 6'11". He's going to get his assists because he can pass the ball. I say it's going to hover around 10.5 to 11. I'm going to go with more on this. It'll be close. It won't be by much, but I'll go with more than 10.5 for Kevin Durant. And last but not least, the one and only Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar, Dame Tom, that brother right there. More or less than 31.5 points on the road versus the Indiana Pacers. Well, the Indiana Pacers is not an exceptional defensive team. They're a team that's hell-bent and content without scoring you, not necessarily neutralizing your ability to score. Damian Lillard's already averaging over 31 for this series. I see nothing that will make me believe that's going to change as this series progresses. Even if Milwaukee loses, which I anticipate they will, he's going to go down swinging. I think that Damian Lillard's going to swing for the fences. I think he's going to register more than 31.5 points in this game. I'm going to go with more. So let's recap and go back to all the selections. More on Russell Westbrook, okay? More on Kevin Durant, okay? More on Damian Lillard, right? Less the 27.5 points, rebounds, assists for Rudy Gobert in Game 3 in Phoenix. That's what I'm rolling with. And you know, you usually should roll with me. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. One more draft item before we get to the NBA. Did y'all see who the Kansas City Chiefs picked with the 28th overall pick last night? It was none other than Texas wideout Xavier Worthy, the fastest man at the Combine this past year. Kansas City acquired the pick from the Buffalo Bills, who traded wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Texans a few weeks ago. As a result, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes will now have another weapon at his disposal. Now, as you can see from that picture, I had the pleasure of meeting Xavier Worthy. Obviously, I was interviewing him and Coach, Steve Sarkisian at the University of Texas when we were down there for South by Southwest, when we took the show down there for that weekly convention. We had an absolute blast. They treated us first class all the way. Xavier Worthy showed up. The brother was kind of small and stuff like that, but his speed is electrifying, and now he's an additional weapon that Patrick Mahomes has available to him. Here's the key thing that we all need to remember. Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, a couple of years ago. And without Tyreek Hill, all he's done is won back-to-back Super Bowl titles. That's it. Without Tyreek Hill and with suspect receivers. So imagine what we can expect from them this year. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Now let's transition to the NBA playoffs, where the end is clearly near for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. The winners of the NBA's in-season tournament are now just one game away from being swept out of the playoffs. The Lakers went down last night at home to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. That was the 11th consecutive loss for the Lakers against the defending world champion Denver Nuggets. Look, the Lakers haven't beaten Denver since December 16, 2022. Not only has that happened, they got swept in the Western Conference Finals. Not only did that happen, but after getting swept in the Western Conference Finals, being salty all off season because the Denver Nuggets sent them home prematurely and what have you, okay? Anthony Davis showed up in training camp at the start of training camp, talked about we've been aching to get back at Denver. We've been itching to do this. We want them bad. We don't like the way they were chirping at us, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens? Opening night, the Lakers go against the Denver Nuggets. The ring ceremony in Denver, they get smacked around. The second time they faced the Denver Nuggets was at the Crypto.com arena, the night Kobe Bryant's statue was unveiled. They lose that night. The third time they went up against the Denver Nuggets, again at Crypto.com arena, was the night that LeBron James scored his 40,000th point. They got beat up that night. And now here they are down 3-0 in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The Denver Nuggets officially own the Los Angeles Lakers. For all we know, they got stock invested in the franchise, and they reaping the benefits from it. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. D'Angelo Russell, who averaged 6 points on 32% shooting and 13% shooting from three-point range in last year's four-game sweep in the Western Conference Finals, this brother went scoreless in Game 3. Scoreless. Hit 7 threes in Game 2. Was very anemic in Game 1. So once again, for the most part, he's a virtual no-show. And right now, to me, there's a couple of things that need to be entertained. Nobody else is saying it, so I'm going to say it. Number one, there's nothing to talk about with the GOAT conversation if LeBron James ends up getting swept. I will remind you that Michael Jordan has been swept in the postseason before. Both times around the mid-'80s, 84, 85, 85, 86, he got swept by the Boston Celtics. Those were 3-game series back then. Michael Jordan never got swept in a best of 7, meaning a best 4 out of 7 game series. That never happened to Michael Jordan. That's number one. Number two, okay, yet another argument in favor of Michael Jordan's GOAT status, being that he's never been swept, he's never been owned by a particular team, even though Boston in the early part of his career won about 13 straight against him himself. Here's the thing that we have to pay attention to. Is it time for the Los Angeles Lakers to consider the unthinkable? See what you can entertain for the services of LeBron James, and see if you can convince him to go elsewhere, because you ain't gonna win no title with LeBron James. Not with Minnesota want to come up, not with Oklahoma City, not with Dallas and the Clippers, not with the Denver Nuggets being there. You ain't gonna win. I will remind you that the same Lakers crew lost all 4 times to the Sacramento Kings this year during the regular season. I will remind you that Zion, with that last game in the play-in tournament against the Lakers, put everybody on notice. He ain't scared, and he will be coming. And if he comes, New Orleans Pelicans are going to be coming too. There's too many good teams in the Western Conference. And if you are the Los Angeles Lakers, yes, Anthony Davis has extreme value, playing 76 games this year and showing he could be healthy, and obviously he's averaging 30 in this Western Conference first-round series against Jokic, of all people. LeBron James is still a superstar in this league. You don't trade LeBron James if he doesn't want to go. You don't move beyond LeBron James if he wants to stay. I get that part. But is it possible and is it plausible when you got a team like the New York Knicks with 11 picks over the next 7 years that you go to them and you say, you know what, we don't mind. You want LeBron at the Garden, give us a couple of first-round picks and a player. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you might want to consider it. Because LeBron James selling seats for you and tickets for you, that's cool. But what good is it if you're going to be going home in the first round? That's just my thinking. Even though one could easily argue Stephen A. shoved that nonsense aside, because if it wasn't for the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers would probably be going to the finals because they could beat anybody else out west, and they damn sure could beat anybody in the East. Fair enough, but that better be the only argument you try to make, because it's the only argument that's plausible. Transitioning to the East, the Sixers took Game 3 against the Knicks at home on Thursday and now head into Game 4 down 2-1. As for New York, they're not happy with Sixers big man Joel Embiid following their flagrant foul on center Mitchell Robinson. Robinson left the Game 3 wearing a walking boot. He was already questionable, by the way, coming into the game with that ankle he had surgery on earlier this year. There is no question that Joel Embiid should have received a flagrant 2 and should have been ejected for that game. He absolutely positively should have been ejected for that game. I originally thought that he was just trying to prevent Mitchell Robinson from falling on him the way somebody from Golden State had fallen on him when he got injured during the regular season. But when you watch this replay, you see he literally pulled at Mitchell Robinson's leg and ankle. There's no question about it. That is a dirty play. I'm not saying that Joel Embiid is a dirty player, because I've never seen him do a dirty play before, and I don't consider him to be a dirty player. But that was a dirty play, and it called for an automatic flagrant 2 ejection. Having said that, we have to be consistent and we have to make up our mind. How many times have we seen stuff occur where we've said we don't want the officials deciding the games for us? We want to see cats on a basketball court. You want to do something about it, beat them. We've said that on many occasions, and guess what? It's a good point to be made, because Joel Embiid on one leg dropped 50 last night. 50. 50 on 13 for 19 shooting, 5 or 7 from three-point range, 19 to 21 free throws. The brother was unstoppable. So, yeah, it was a flagrant 2. It should have been a flagrant 2. He should have been ejected. But I'd prefer him staying on the court and the Knicks showing the Sixers, even with him on the court, you can beat him anyway, even if he drops another 50, because they were still within striking distance to win this game. That's just me. But why hear it from just me? Let me give you an opportunity to talk to my next guest. Joining me now is ESPN NBA analyst extraordinaire and host of SiriusXM's Above the Rim, and the All-NBA podcast. He is my brother. He is my friend. He is my contemporary, my colleague, spanning 20-plus years. The great one himself, the one and only Professor Tim Legler. I call him the professor because of the glasses here. What's up, Big Tom? How you doing, man? How's everything?
Hey, when I break these babies out, you know it's going to be a serious conversation.
I know
when you
it
see
is.
the glasses on.
I know
hey,
it
listen,
is.
all seriousness, man. We've been colleagues for a long time, but it even fills my heart even more to call you a friend a lot longer than that, man.
Yeah,
We've been together a long time.
Hey, same here, my brother. You know I love you to death, man. Always appreciate you. We go back many, many years, over 20 years now. Let's get right into it. I was in Philadelphia last night. We both conceded that Philadelphia 76ers were probably going to win Game 3, but I still think that the Knicks could take them out in 5. You said that's insane. This series is going 7 games. You saw Embiid drop 50 last night. First order of business. You think he can have this continue health-wise?
All right, here's the thing. 50 and asking him to put up these kind of numbers might be extreme, but here's the thing, man. He's proving to me, Stephen A., that he's probably 60, 70%. That's probably where I would put him. Physically, he's clearly not the presence on the glass. He's clearly not the presence in the paint defensively. But you know what? He can still score at a high rate, and he's playing mainly on the perimeter and still putting up these kinds of numbers. It gives me great hope that the Sixers are going to be able to hang in there and make this a very long series. So the one thing that was very encouraging in Game 3, it was the first one of the 3 games, I didn't see Joel Embiid show significant physical decline as the game went on. I didn't feel that way in Game 3. I did in Games 1 and 2. He got to the point where he couldn't change ends of the floor. I mean, he was dragging that leg up and down Madison Square Garden. So I think that's a good sign. Now, he had the extra day off in this case. That's significant, and he's going to get another extra day off before they play Game 4. Clearly, I think that had an effect because he was still pretty strong by his standards right now into the fourth quarter. That's a great sign for Philadelphia.
Do you believe, see, I was encouraged by the Knicks in Game 3 because I thought it took the 50 from Embiid in order for the Knicks to lose that game. If it were not for that, I think the Knicks win that game. Not to mention the fact that the New York Knicks clearly have a home court advantage at the Garden in New York. But there was a whole bunch of Knicks fans that showed up to the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia for Game 3. So I think Game 4, the New York Knicks could end up stealing that one, especially when I saw Brunson drop 39 and 13. What do you make of that assertion?
Yeah, listen, first of all, I want to say something, man. If Philadelphia fans get so much credit, rightfully so, for the way they travel, I mean, and it's whether it's the Eagles, the Sixers, Phillies, whoever it may be,
right?
They get a lot of credit because they take over opposing arenas, opposing stadiums.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, man. I was impressed with what New York brought to that game in Philadelphia. I think a lot of Philadelphia fans were taken aback by the level of nickdom in the lower half of that arena. So, first of all, that was incredible. The presence that they had in Philly, they're going to be there again for Game 4. Look, a lot of what you said is true. I think the fact that Brunson was finally able to have a fairly efficient game was important for the Knicks because he did not play well necessarily by his standards the first 2 games. He got on track in Game 3. But here's the thing. I thought Philadelphia strategically said, listen, Brunson's going to do his thing. He's going to take a lot of shots. Some nights he's going to make, certain percentage. He's going to get to his number. We got to make sure we control other guys. DiVincenzo, 7 shots. Look at his game log for the last 2 months. That's a quarter's worth of work some nights for Dante DiVincenzo. They did not give him space. They did a good job on Bogdanovich. McBride didn't have a presence in this game. I think Philadelphia is gambling that Jalen Brunson taking, 25 to 30 shots a night to do his thing offensively, they're going to live with as long as they don't get these splashy splurges from these other guys because they're all capable of having 10, 12-point quarters. Okay. That's what the Sixers are trying to take away and limit. I think that might be the way I would also play the New York Knicks. Force a 6'2" point guard to shoot the ball 30 times. If he's hitting, you might not be able to beat that team, but take your chances. You've got the defenders to make them just a little bit less efficient and try to turn the water off on those other role players. That's what I felt like Game 3 was about for the Knicks offensively.
I don't need to get into Orlando and Cleveland. I'm not that interested in yet, even though Orlando blew them out by damn near 40 in Game 3. Now they moved within 2-1, ultimately in position to tie the series in Game 4. I want to go to Milwaukee and Indiana for a second. I've got Indiana winning this series. And I know Giannis is hurt. But I got to tell you, Tim, even if he weren't hurt, I don't know if I would have picked against Indiana because this year they've had their way with Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't seem to be able to stop them. We saw an aberration in game one when Milwaukee held them to 94 points. We know that didn't only happen to Indiana only once this entire year where they were held to under 100 points in a game, but then they showed up in game two. I'm watching the game on television for about 10 to 15 minutes, Legs. I didn't see Indiana miss a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these brothers can shoot. And Milwaukee doesn't seem to have an answer, even with Dame averaging about 33, 34. What do you make of that series real quick?
Well, listen, I'm right with you. I was, I got to pick all these series. I was on record as saying going into the series, even if Giannis were healthy, I was going to pick the Pacers. Certainly without him, I loved their chances. Now, in game one, I thought Indiana was a team I didn't recognize. They were walking the ball up the floor. They weren't playing fast. Halliburton wasn't advancing the ball up the sideline the way they love to play to get you back retreating. It looked like a team to me that was a little bit overwhelmed by the moment of being in the postseason. They settled in game two, and that's the team I've been watching all year. Fast-paced, ball moving through the air, multiple three-point shooters spaced out at all times, hitting you with an initial surge in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock that most teams, Stephen A., are not prepared for, particularly when you only get them once in the regular season. Well, now the Bucks are going to have chances to adjust to it. The problem for Milwaukee, in my opinion, in this series, they play multiple bigs all the time. You're asking an awful lot for those guys to hit the offensive glass, turn and sprint, and get back to guard that level of pace that's coming at you up the floor. It's why the Pacers are so unique. If you have a smaller team that's got great speed, you can deal with that and now guard them in the half court. That's not the case with the Bucks, and that's why I felt really confident that Indiana was going to find their rhythm. They certainly did in game two. The Bucks have no matchup for Pascal Siakam until Giannis comes back. We don't know when exactly that's going to be. Siakam has done whatever he's wanted to in the first 2 games. Here's the thing, Stephen A. It's 1-1, and Halliburton really hasn't gotten going as a scorer. I think game three, he finally goes off a little bit, and the Pacers go up 2-1 and try to get both of those home games to take control of the series before you see Giannis at some point. I think it's critical Indiana gets both home games. They can't have a split. Because Giannis is going to appear in this series at some point. They got to get both to go up 3-1, but I really like their chances.
I put very few people on the planet are more qualified than you to answer this next question as quick as you possibly can. Do the Milwaukee Bucks look worse with Doc Rivers coaching them instead of Adrian Griffin? Or is it just a personnel issue that neither coach could necessarily conquer as we view these playoffs?
Well, I would say, honestly, there's not much difference between what I was watching the first 43 games of the year and what I've watched since Doc got there. Now, they had an adjustment period early. They were losing games. Everybody was wondering if it was the right hire. I knew it was going to take time. You're middle of the season. You're coming in as a coach. It takes you time to implement stuff, to change stuff. Then they went on a little bit of a winning streak, and it looked like their defense had picked up, and maybe Doc was going to have an impact. And now I see a lot of the same struggles I saw earlier in the year. Here's the one thing they have not figured out. They don't know how they close games. And that's why you brought in Damian Lillard. That's been the mystifying thing for me. They have not been good in close games, one possession games, 5 minutes to go. That's why you brought Lillard in, to make up for some of the deficiencies in Giannis's game offensively late in the game. They have not gotten it done when they're in those situations. I think for Lillard, it's been strange to finally play with a better player where he defers sometimes. He's not always in hyper-aggressive mode. When Giannis hasn't been there, that's when Dame looks like Dame. When Giannis plays, it's not there all the time. So I think they haven't meshed, and I just think they have slowed down defensively. This is not the same team that won a championship. So I don't know that Doc has had necessarily a negative or positive impact. It kind of looks like the same product that I saw earlier in the year, and they haven't been able to fill in some of those glaring weaknesses as the season's gone on. They're extremely vulnerable. They might not get out of the first round. If they do get out of the first round, there's a good chance to end up, with Boston eventually down the road.
Transition then to Miami, Boston. You were just a bit presumptuous saying Boston, as most of us are. Most of us, anybody that knows basketball, has got Boston winning this first round series. We certainly didn't expect the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler, without, Terry Rozier,
Right.
to go into Boston for Game 2 after getting blown out in Game 1, for Tyler Hero to be the best basketball player on the court, 24 points, 14 assists, for Bam Adebayo to be shooting over 60% from the field, averaging 22 a game, for guys like that to produce, and Miami ultimately to beat Boston in Boston. We didn't expect that. Any reason to be concerned with what we saw from the Boston Celtics in that Game 2?
Absolutely reason to be concerned. And the main reason is Eric Spoelstra. And I've said this before, and I'm going to stick to this. I don't care what 10 guys you give me. If we were down at the health club, if it was the dream team, if it was a bunch of college guys, I want that guy coaching that group of 10 guys. That'd be my number one pick to coach any group. So he got him to believe, first of all, you don't have Butler, you don't have Rozier. You got smoked in Game 1. And now you're going to go up to play Boston in Game 2. And he had them in the mindset to be confident and aggressive. That's a lot of that is coaching, man, and communication skills. Okay, that's part of it. Here's the other thing, though. I want to be clear about this. There's been 3,300 playoff games roughly since they put the three-point line in. Only 3 times in the history of the playoffs have you seen a team make more threes than the Heat just did. So Some of that is, can they replicate that 23 made threes? Boston will be better defensively down there. There's reason to be concerned, but ultimately, man, this team won 64 games. This is by far the most complete starting 5 in the Eastern Conference. If they want to make a statement and not let this thing linger to 7 games or something like that, you need to go down and win Game 3, not get a split. Win Game 3 and immediately flip that script right back. Because right now everybody's over-scrutinizing the Boston Celtics because it's the Heat and everybody's with the Heat. It's supposed to Heat culture. I get all of that. You won 64 games for a reason. You've got the most versatile starting 5 in the Eastern Conference, if not all of basketball. You got to go into Game 3, and you got to set the tone for how the rest of this series is going to go. And I expect Boston to have a great response.
Well, that would require Kristaps Porzingis to shoot better than 1 for 9 from the field, particularly with Caleb Martin guarding him. That's number one. But you brought in Boston's dominance, and I'm going to transition to the Western Conference because I started off this segment talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, who are going up against the reigning defending champions in the Denver Nuggets, led by Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon is balling. Michael Porter Jr. is just doing what he wants when he wants. They just seem to completely have overmatched the Los Angeles Lakers to a point where there's a level of resignation that you can see in the face of the Lakers. They just can't beat these guys. They've now lost 11 straight. Folks are bringing the broomsticks to the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles tomorrow. I can't do it officially because I'm supposed to be objective, but damn it, my broomstick will be across the street at LA Live in the ESPN Center because I expect them to lose this game too, damn it, even though I'm hoping for otherwise. How do you explain what has happened to the Los Angeles Lakers being down 3-0 in this Western Conference first round series?
I love the word you use, resignation, because I want to be clear about something. There's a lot of people throwing the word quit around out there. And I'm going to explain to you the difference in my mind as an athlete between the two. Quit, I've used the word, not often, man. I hate using the word because it's the most, I think the biggest thing you can say in a negative way about any professional athlete is the word quit. So you got to be careful when you throw it around. Quitting to me is when you don't have enough fire in your belly to even where it matters enough to you to win.
Right.
That's not the Lakers. They have resigned and they have succumbed to a team that they can't stop. They can't guard this team. And LeBron said it afterwards the best way you can. They don't have a weakness. And eventually it wears on you to the point that you just get demoralized. And that's exactly where the Lakers are, man. They ran into the one team, Stephen A., in the Western Conference that they wouldn't have given a long series to, if not won the series. I really believe that. This is the one team because they've got size, they've got shooting, they've got, obviously, Jokic is the most unstoppable force in the Western Conference, if not the entire NBA right now. They play defense. They're well coached. He said it. There's no weaknesses. And the Lakers need something that they can attack and exploit. There's nothing on this team. And if you lose a game in which all 3 of your top players go off the way they did in Denver, you get a 20-point lead and you still can't hold on. That was the gut punch that told you how the rest of the series was going to go. I'll be shocked if Denver doesn't sweep them.
Is that your way of saying it would be unfair for us to hold against LeBron James getting swept in back-to-back postseason series against a team this formidable. MJ got swept, but it was early in his career when they were 3-game series against Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. He never got swept in a 7-game series. LeBron James has had it happen to him about 3 or 4 times. He's on the verge of it happening to him again. And we suppose, is it fair? Are we supposed to give him a pass?
No, we're not going to give a pass because, listen, the guys on that level don't get those kind of passes. We know that. You're talking about historical greatness. Number 2, locked in at number 2, by the way, in my opinion. I think you and I agree on this. We've talked about it so many times on the air. He's locked in at 2. He's not running down the GOAT, Michael Jordan. He's not going to get caught from behind anytime soon, certainly. He's locked in at 2. Guys on that level, no, you have to. This has to be part of the way you describe them. It's part of their legacy, part of the way you remember them. It's a part of the story. But at the end of the day, you have to be realistic and honest in your assessment of who they are playing. Hey, great players sometimes overcome odds, right? And they drag a team through a series when they're clearly the underdog. It happens. This team right now, in their prime, just entering their prime, the Denver Nuggets, on the verge of what's going to be a significant and long-term run, and you're catching them at the very beginning of that when all these guys are young and healthy. I think we have to be realistic in what we were going to expect out of LA Lakers in this series. But when it comes up and you're talking about LeBron James' career, absolutely getting swept is going to have to be part of the conversation because the great players typically don't experience that.
One of the things I religiously tell people, you're not only one of the best analysts in America, you're also an historian. You're somebody that was on the basketball court, a former three-point shooting king in the NBA yourself, playing in Washington. I will ask you this question, Tim Legler. What would Michael Jordan have done under these circumstances against a team like the Denver Nuggets that, dare I say, may have been a touch different than what we're seeing from a LeBron James-led team?
Yeah, listen, we both know what that would have looked like. Michael Jordan would have basically decided he's going to have to get 50. He's going to have to get 55. I was playing in a playoff game when Michael Jordan hit us with a double nickel when I was playing in Washington, so I know what that looked like. That he would have just tried to take it completely upon himself to do something absolutely extraordinary to give them a chance to stay in the series to win a game. Now, here's the difference. LeBron James, you look at where he is at in this stage of his career. You're talking about a 40-year-old man. Right. All right, trying to do it against this team. It may not be fair to ask LeBron James to have to go for 40 or 50. Fair point. Right? So that's the difference. Michael Jordan, the comp would be Michael Jordan, the way he looked physically when he was playing in Washington, because that's what LeBron James is right now. Right? And that Michael Jordan wouldn't have been able to go for 50 against this team either. So it might be a little bit too much to ask. And that's why you're thinking, okay, LeBron, give me 25, 30, run the show. Anthony Davis, give me 30 plus, check. D'Angelo Russell, we need, obviously he didn't show up in game 3, but he certainly did down in Denver in game 2. Check, we got that. And you still can't beat him. And here's the thing, when Aaron Gordon he's to me is the tipping point. When Aaron Gordon is that aggressive offensively and he's that included in what they're doing offensively as a shot maker, now they've taken it to a completely different level where you really don't have any answers. Because it's enough with Jokic and Murray, my goodness. Michael Porter Jr. making jumpers. Now you're going to throw in Aaron Gordon into the mix to give me 20 plus, just like he did in the finals last year. That's when they look like a team that there's no answer for in this league, including
Boston. Including Boston. So now it's fair to say that if the finals was to start today, and you have, well, I shouldn't say today because Boston just lost, but when the finals begin, you'd likely have Denver as the favorite over Boston. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely would. And I think they're going to have a big test. I think Denver will get a big test. And I think that big test is going to come in the next 2 rounds, actually. Minnesota, I think, when they get by Phoenix. And then the winner of the Mavs-Clippers, man, both of those teams, because if the Mavs win it, it's because all the things I picked them to win the series, I picked them to go to the conference finals, and that will have happened if they get there. If the Clippers get there, it means because they have righted the ship. Kawhi Leonard has come back. He's playing great. Now you look at all of that talent, how deep they are. That's a team that's formidable. They're going to get tested before the Western Conference playoffs are done without a doubt. If they survive that gauntlet and they get to the NBA Finals again, which I expect them to, yes, they will be favored to beat the Boston Celtics, even though they'll be going on the road for the first 2 games. Last
couple of questions. You talked about the difference between resignation and quitting. When you looked at Kevin Durant, particularly late in Game 2 against Minnesota the other day, which word was applicable in your mind?
No, that was more quitting than resignation to me. That was more a guy that's sort of waving the white flag. And look, part of it is this. And I don't feel this way necessarily about the Lakers group. I do feel this way about the Suns. That doesn't look like a group to me that, if facing this kind of adversity, is going to roll their sleeves up, jump in the trenches together and fight, get into the alley and make it a rock fight. They don't look that way to me. I just don't see the connection that you need to fight through something like this. This team is physically the best defensive team in the league. Mentally, they're going to wear you down. I don't know that Phoenix has that fight and that fire that it's going to take to dig themselves out of this. Can they win a game? Yes. Can they win a game 3? No question. With all that offensive talent, yes, it can come together on a night. But I don't see a team that truly believes that they have a group there that's enough to make a run through the West. And when Minnesota gets stronger throughout the game, Stephen A., it's amazing to me to watch. At the exact same time, Phoenix is wilting. It's happened both times. First 2 games, Minnesota finishes it just in your face while Phoenix sort of puts a tail between their legs and they go quietly as the game is winding down. It's been an amazing thing to watch. Phoenix has 1 shot to make this a series. It's game 3. I'm very curious to see how they attack.
Listen, you just finished talking about greatness and what the requirements are for greatness. How are we to look at Kevin Durant if he ultimately gets bounced out again in the first round? And since he's departed from Golden State years ago, he's never been past the second round. How are we to look at him if Minnesota ends up bouncing him out?
I'm just going to tell you right now, listen, he's an all-time great talent. And he's a 2-time champion. You can't take it away, a 2-time finals MVP. But the one thing that he's going to lack, that these guys covet on that level, when you're talking about trying to get into that list, top 10, top whatever, right? You want to be part of that group. And that name is right at the forefront of your thought when you get asked the question, top 10, and the names pop off your tongue. You want to be in that category? You've got to have the one thing that he desperately covets and wants, and I don't see him getting it unless he leaves Phoenix or he ends up with another team. I don't see it happening, Stephen A., which is this: a championship with a core group of guys where you took them to a place that they have not been or could not be without you. He does not have that. Golden State won before he got there.
Yep.
Golden State won after he left.
Yeah.
That is a big deal. You can't take away what he was. That was the best player on those Golden State teams.
No question.
There's no doubt about it. Okay, you can't deny that. And he was great in getting it done. He almost looked bored by the end of the second one. Yeah. He almost looked bored, which is why he left. They didn't need it. He probably didn't feel he got enough credit. You need a group to call your own, that you lead somewhere where they have never been without you. Mm-hmm. And Brooklyn would have been that opportunity for all those guys. Obviously, that was a disaster. Phoenix could have been that opportunity. A franchise that's never won it, and you take them there, and look at how this is playing out. That's the one thing lacking, and it's going to keep his name from being one of those names that pops off your tongue when you start talking about top 10 all time.
By the way, before I forget, let me remind everybody, I believe Frank Vogel could end up being in trouble. He's not the coach that they wanted. That wasn't their first choice. They wanted Ty Lue, but the Clippers wouldn't let him out of his deal. Who knows what's going to happen in the near future, particularly if you end up being able to get your hands on somebody like Ty Lue, because Frank Vogel, from an offensively schematic standpoint, doesn't seem to be as innovative enough to really fuel a Bradley Beal, a Devin Booker, a Kevin Durant, in my estimation. But I think we should keep our eyes on that. Last question to you, Anthony Edwards. When I saw him performing in game 1, particularly in that third quarter, me and my man Mike Wilbon picked up the phone together, and we called Michael Jordan, and we said, "Yo, we watching somebody right now that look a little bit like you, just a little bit, just a touch." And all MJ would say is, "That is a bad brother. That kid can ball." When you watch Anthony Edwards right now, especially how he's going up against Beal and Booker and KD, your thoughts?
Man, listen, this is going to sound crazy to some people because I saw him in game 1, too, and he was absolutely electrifying, right? He's everything you want him to be and more in that head-to-head matchup. I got news for you. More impressed with him in game 2. Here's why. It wasn't his night offensively. He never really got going. And now you have this young player that's emerging, right? And we're all talking about him in the same vein. He is ascending at a meteoric pace.
Right.
He's rising right now. For a guy like that to be that young and not have it offensively on a given night, would not be shocked if you get into your own head a little bit, you kind of get pouty. It's not your night. Maybe you don't quite put forth all the effort on the defensive end of the floor. And guess what? I'd probably cut a guy his age a little bit of slack for that.
Right.
Instead, I saw the exact opposite. I saw a dude digging in defensively every possession, even though he wasn't making shots. I saw a dude bouncing up and down when guys are coming off the court, greeting them. And I saw him in a huddle, engaged, yelling, screaming, being positive, though. I saw leadership out of a very young player, and it told me emotionally he is growing to such an extent he's putting the entire package together. Physical tools are without question that last component to know if you're going to be the guy we think you can be is what's going on between your ears and how you handle adversity and how you handle different situations. The maturity level and the want to has been so impressive to me. I loved what I saw in game 2 on a night when he wasn't at his best offensively. Mm-hmm. You never would have known it by his demeanor. That is leadership.
Absolutely promise this is the very last question.
All right.
Minnesota, Dallas, the Clippers, OKC. I think we know Phoenix is done. I think we know the New Orleans Pelicans are done. Let's just call it what it is because they don't have Zion. Those 4 teams, the Clippers, the Mavs, the Minnesota Timberwolves, okay, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Who do you give the best chance, A, of beating Denver, B, of being able to beat both Denver and Boston and potentially disrupt our expectations and win the chip?
Oh, this is so hard. It's a toss-up between Minnesota and Dallas. Minnesota, defensively and with their size, is the best matchup for Jokic. I don't think there's any question about that and what you have to do against them. Offensively, I don't know if they're going to have enough against that team. So then I go to Dallas and I say, yes, look, I like they added Gafford. They got athleticism and some length in the middle. But those guys, and even what Zubac has been done to Gafford in the first couple games, you can see they're going to get beat up physically with Jokic's weight and strength and all of that. And now you got to come up with a defensive game plan to double team. And let guys get loose? So defensively, I think there's some issues. But you got the Luka factor. Ultimately, Stephen A., I trust him so much in certain situations inherently
and
in
Kyrie.
The way he controls the game. The only player I think close to Jokic's level in the league in controlling the game is Luka Doncic. And that's why I think I said it's 50-50. I just flipped a coin. I'm going to give a 51-49 edge to the Dallas Mavericks as the biggest threat.
My man, love you, bro. Appreciate you. Love working with you. Appreciate the expertise. Keep blessing the entire NBA stratosphere with the knowledge and the wisdom. I'm smart for a reason. I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I just listen to those who are, and I steal their knowledge. I say it all the time, Tim Legler. I say it all the time. Appreciate you, my brother. I'll see you soon, all right?
Always, man. Love coming on. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, my man. The one and only Tim Legler in the house right here with your boy, Stephen A. Coming up, I'll take a look at your tweets. Plus, it's Melania's Trump birthday, and former President Trump is complaining he can't be with her. Plus, I got a little surprise for you near the end of the show, so stick around. It's a surprise. I haven't done this before, but I'm going to do it today. Stick around. This is Stephen A. Smith Show, back with more in a minute. I want to take a second to make sure everyone knows. The NBA playoffs are here, y'all, and Prize Picks has got you covered for all the real-time action. That's right. With big games happening every night, Prize Picks is here to help you cash in. In case you didn't know, Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app where you can select 2 or more of your favorite players and then pick more or less on their projected in-game stats. But best part is, Prize Picks has something for every sports fan. I mean every sports fan. Choose from the NBA, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, the MMA, and everything in between. You can pick Damian Lillard, Shohei Ohtani, and Stuart Skinner, all in the same entry. I make my picks and submit early, all in less than 60 seconds. Then I sit back and watch, and get this. Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. You heard me right. Go to prizepicks.com and use code SAS. That's my initials, of course, for a first deposit match up to $100. That's SAS, where you go to prizepicks.com and use the promo code. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. Before we get to a surprise I got for y'all at the end of the show, I just wanted to veer left a little bit for a second here and touch on something non-sports related. And it's before we get to the tweets. I want to take this time to wish former First Lady Melania Trump a very, very happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, woo woo. Anyway, her husband, Donald Trump, you heard about him, right? Do you know that he complained that he couldn't be with her today because he just couldn't be with his wife because he's got to be in court for a hush money trial? Remember that, right? Ladies and gentlemen, maybe it's just me, but I wouldn't exactly want to bring up the fact that it's my wife's birthday and I can't be with her, I can't spend time with her because I'm in court, when the reason I'm in court is for allegedly paying hush money to a porn star. Do you get the irony? So in other words, you allegedly, because I don't know, they're saying that he paid off a porn star. Well, what'd you pay off for? What'd you pay off the porn star for? I mean, assuming that is true for a second there, what'd you pay off for? Because you were getting loose with the porn star. That would be the reason you were getting loose with the porn star. Now, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm a liberal in certain respects. I ain't knocking the man. I'm simply making the point. You might not want to bring that up. That's just me. And oh, by the way, just a little advice from your boy Stephen A. When somebody has a birthday, usually the date is from 12:01 to midnight. I don't recall a single court appearance by the former president showing him in court after 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. You ever heard of dinner? You ever heard of dinner and drinks? I mean, you can't leave court and go take the wife out? I think you can. So ain't nobody bothering. Ain't nobody buying that. But I want to get back to the original point. He's not available to be with the wife because he's in court for allegedly paying off a porn star. I wonder why. Let's go and look at some tweets before we get on out of here for the day, before I get to my guests and my surprise stuff. Let me go to the screen here and go to some of these tweets. At CFCMMB, put all 32 starting NFL quarterbacks in a WWE Royal Rumble match, Stephen A. Who wins? Are you ready for this? It might be Josh Allen. I mean, Patrick Mahomes could throw the football, but he ain't considered to be in the greatest shape in the world. Jalen Hurts is incredibly athletic. So is Dak Prescott. Big boys. You see how big Josh Allen is? You see how he shrugs off defenders time and time again? He's playing in that cold weather in Buffalo where everything stings a little bit more when you get hit because it ain't Southern California and stuff like that. I know Justin Herbert is big. I get all of that. You understand? Jordan Love ain't that big. Brock Purdy, no, he ain't that big. You see what I'm saying? Russell Wilson's got them tree trunks for legs. He's in Pittsburgh now. I understand that. But when I think about a Royal Rumble match, I'm thinking about somebody big, somebody's physical, that enjoys the contact, that invites it, and doesn't mind hurting people himself. That name is Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. That is the name I come up with. Next tweet, please. Give it to me. At RadRocket8SS, right, Stephen A., which would you rather eat, French toast and beans or omelet and beans? This is just a disgusting choice for me to make. Because when I think about French toast, I ain't never seen French toast that look like this. I ain't buying that. But I would go with the French toast with the beans as opposed to the eggs, because I don't like the way that looks either, and I don't like the way these beans look compared to those beans. So I would go with the French toast and the beans. But I don't like either choice. I wouldn't eat either choice, so don't even think about bringing it in my direction. Next tweet, please. At YUSBAD, or UseBad, YUSEBAD. Stephen A., the question is, who would win in a boxing match? Prime Matt from Y Sports or Wii Sports Boxing, or Prime Mike Tyson? I'm going to go with Mike Tyson. Because the chances are Prime Matt was replicated from the realness that was Mike Tyson. Usually you get the realness, you create an image, particularly in this world of AI, what have you, but nothing is ever better than the original. I would go with Mike Tyson. That's what I'm going to do. Let's go with this last one. At CS11 _.3H. Stephen A., who would you trust more to pay you back alone? Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin? I would say Homer Simpson. You know why? Because look at Peter Griffin. He looked like somebody that would drink that shit away. He ain't gonna pay you your money back. He gonna run to the store. He gonna run in and get some alcohol from the beer shop. Homer, even though he's slick, still seems a bit more responsible. I would go that route. That's what I would do. Now, before we end today's show, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know a little something about myself. I'm a lot of things in life, you know. Greatest title I've ever had in my life is daddy, my two beautiful daughters and what have you. And professional career's going well, the whole bit. But when you're successful, there's an upside because there's a lot of things you could do for family. There's also a downside. And that downside is a bunch of whippersnappers that's in your family that's young whippersnappers. They think they know everything. They think they invented shit you already knew for years and all of this other stuff. They want to tell you about sports. They want to tell you about pop culture. They want to tell you about life. And they want you to shut up and listen to them because you old, you archaic, you outdated. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? Some do it with a touch of humility. Some could be arrogant as hell. They don't give a damn. But it's all love because, you know, they love you and you got to listen to them. Well, I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse, but I will tell you this. I got two nephews. You've heard me allude to them before. Two nephews, smart as whip, highly knowledgeable about sports, pop culture and entertainment. They follow that stuff. They're the ones that try to tell me what I need to talk about because they're the ones telling me, look, you don't know, damn it, you old. You old, Uncle Steve. You got to accept it, okay? And you would be wise to bring us onto your show so we could show the audience you actually do got some young flavor around you. You ain't just some old hag that's fading away, okay, like your hairline is. This is what they said to me. Very, very disrespectful. And I'm Uncle Steve, so I got to take it. So I decided today they wanted some airtime. I'm going to give it to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my two nephews. One would be TJ himself, the man right there, okay? And this dude, I told y'all one's a bit more humble than the other's arrogant. Figure out which one's arrogant with the Cartier shades he stole from my drawer last year. The one and only Josh himself. My nephews TJ and Josh. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
So you do understand.
I understand what?
This whole time I've been trying to explain to you, we the ones, and you just let the world know.
I let the world know what?
That we are the ones.
What do you mean you're the one?
Somebody got to keep you young.
So you're keeping me young?
Pop culture.
Okay.
Sports.
Right.
Took you long enough.
Right. Took them long enough.
Took me long enough.
I mean, we was in your ear for, 15 plus years, 20
You coming
years.
at me like that, TJ? You, of all people, Mr. Humility, you being contaminated by Josh?
I'm thankful.
So what is it that Uncle Steve is so lost about? For example, let's go to sports route, for example. What could you possibly say I'd be lost about with sports when I taught y'all everything y'all know about sports?
So I got something.
What you got?
The
Speak
Knicks.
up, man.
The Knicks.
Don't whisper.
I'm not whispering. The Knicks.
What about the Knicks?
Listen, the fans feel like you only there when they're good. That's not me. That's not me.
You said that with the cameras rolling?
That's not me.
Well, what do you say when the fans say this about your uncle?
Listen, I defend you. I defend you to the T. Because, listen, I got all my knowledge and everything from you, but being that, we taking this thing to the next level
I'll
now.
take it even further. We're a Giants house. You speak about the Steelers all the time.
I'm not a Giants fan. That's you and your Aunt Linda and them. I don't care about the Giants.
That's the house. From the same house.
So what?
I'm validating he is from Hollis, but you don't go with the flow. The Giants.
I've never gone with the flow, but I'm a Yankees fan and I'm a Knicks fan. And by the way, you're a Mets fan, and we don't allow Mets usually in our household. You talk about the guy that deviated, that's him.
Mets, Jets. Yeah, he's weird. He's weird.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, my nephew TJ, his sister is Tamia, who was the one that was on Family Feud with us that all the fellas out there was drooling over. I don't appreciate that, but that's a different story for another day. That's who the hell they were drooling at your sister.
Oh, yeah, listen,
I ain't bringing her back on camera.
You got the nerve to bring up Family Feud?
Yeah, it was a bad moment. It was a bad
Where was
moment.
my invite?
I was there behind the scenes.
I wasn't gonna bring you. Why would I bring you on Family Feud? I don't think you
We
would have
the
done a good
one.
job. I don't think you would have done a good job. You know who I would have brought ahead of you? I would have brought your cousin Chanel. I would have brought her. I definitely would have brought her. I gotta say that, okay? And you know what? Hell, I might have brought Nyla and Samantha. I might have. Because I don't trust that you would have been focused, Josh.
It would have been a show though.
Really?
Yeah,
you would have been a show. It would have been a show. So when we talk about the world of pop culture and entertainment, because we know I'm the expert on sports. Y'all know better than that. What do I miss in the world of pop culture and entertainment?
Being on Instagram yourself, actually being on it, checking out what you're missing. Shade room when they're talking about you. I got it. I'm the one that sends him the screenshots, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact.
Oh my Lord. Oh my God.
Let's see.
I can't believe today is the day that he finally stepped out of his shell. I got him now. I'm gonna dress him from now on. I'm gonna dress him down. Y'all see me. Should I stand up?
Oh my Lord.
Y'all see me.
Oh my Lord.
He could learn something from me.
What do I need to learn?
How to stay young. That's not something that you learn getting older.
I don't want to stay young. I don't want to get old, but I don't want to stay young. I'm not in my 20s or 30s. I'm in my 50s and proud of it.
This is the world of the internet. This is YouTube.
So what you saying, TJ?
This is
I just want to know who your favorite rapper is.
My favorite is Jay-Z.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying too.
But what?
Nah,
What's
Jay-Z-
wrong with Jay-Z?
There's
Nah,
nothing wrong
Jay-Z's
with
the
Jay-Z,
GOAT.
but just to admit that he's your favorite now while YouTube is
While
watching,
everything's
you gotta
going on, we got
read
Drake,
the room
Kendrick.
a little bit better, Drake. You gotta say Drake.
You think Drake is better than Jay-Z?
No.
He's not better than him.
Okay, well
But
then what's the problem?
I went to the Drake show, and Drake has you, and the crowd is going crazy as soon as they cut to your little piece.
Right, my little piece, my little piece. But
I'm
just
saying,
a little piece.
have you been to the Drake show?
No.
And this is what I'm saying.
That was a big problem for me too.
When Drake invites me, I'll come. He didn't invite me.
But they had a
You
whole.
part of the show.
Yeah.
But he didn't invite me.
You're rich.
Huh?
Can I? When's the next in the game?
Saturday or home game or away?
Am I in there?
The
while,
Knicks?
while everybody's watching, am I in there? Can I get a Nick ticket from Stephen A. Smith?
Why should I give you a Nick ticket? You get enough from Uncle Steve.
Oh,
You get
see Uncle
enough from
Steve in
me.
there.
That's right, I'm your uncle. Do you not get enough from me? Do I not do boy, don't get beat down. Don't get beat down. And what about you, TJ? Listen, I got Jay-Z, Biggie and Tupac. Y'all wouldn't know, you young whippersnappers, you wouldn't know anything about that. You understand that Biggie and Tupac would have been all that. All right? Nas is up there, Eminem is spectacular. I got Drake up there, LL Cool J, y'all never mention him, y'all never give him enough love. He's a dude that withstood the test of time. How come y'all ignore that?
I got Lil Wayne ahead of LL. LL's not.
Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne ahead of LL Cool J?
That's why I'm here, y'all. Yes, he's better than LL Cool J.
Oh my Lord.
I can't wait to
don't
see
know.
these comments.
Lil Wayne is better than L. How do you justify that?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Mr. Carter, I like that. I like him on Loyal with Chris Brown. Okay, I like Lil Wayne. Don't get me wrong, I respect him, but he ain't LL.
We gonna listen to Lil Wayne all the way home when we leave here.
Who?
Lil Wayne, me and you.
Lil Wayne.
You can drive home. Yeah.
Lil Wayne. Y'all think, so you got Lil Wayne as top 5?
Yeah.
Of all time?
What?
Yeah.
Well, who you taking out?
Oh, they gonna
Who's your
kill
top 5,
y'all.
Josh? Who's your top 5 right now?
I got Jay-Z. I got Nas. I got Lil Wayne. I got Drake, and I got Kanye.
Drake and Kanye. So you don't have Biggie, you don't have Tupac,
You just said I'm too.
you don't have Eminem?
Nah, definitely not Eminem. Not in my tops. You? You got Eminem in your tops? Don't make
Why
me.
you talking to him like that? Why you intimidating
exactly.
him?
Don't
Why
make
you
me
let
feel
him-
weird, 'cause that
why
make me
why
feel
you
weird.
Why
I
don't
don't
you
have
let him
him
say
in my
his answer
top.
first? Don't
I don't think
intimidate
he's in
him.
my-
Why don't you let him say his answer
In
first?
terms of impact, Eminem is definitely in the top 5 for me. Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Just I'm talking about impact because in terms of
Yeah,
how
yeah,
much.
but you can't bring up Dr. J. Is, I mean,
All right,
he's a
rapping-wise,
producer. I'm talking about rap.
Rap. In terms of lyricism, like I got like Big Pun in my top 5.
You say who?
Big Pun.
Big Pun?
Big Pun.
He wasn't bad.
He's one of the top. He's one of the top
that.
lyricists I've ever heard. Beware. You heard that freestyle?
No.
Never heard of it?
No.
All right, cool. Go check it out after this.
Oh my goodness.
Big
Look,
Pun.
man, before I let y'all get on out of here, because y'all already getting on my damn nerves. You're already getting on my damn nerves. I'm taking up more this time. Let's switch to sports for a quick second here. Who y'all got meeting in the NBA Finals?
Oh, you hesitating. I got the Knicks in Denver.
Knicks and Denver? You got the Knicks going to the finals?
Yeah, the Knicks.
There's hope for you. There's actually hope for you. I gotta give it to
I'm
you.
from the house.
Okay, from the house?
Yeah, I love the Knicks.
Okay,
Yeah, you're gonna go.
TJ, who you got?
In the finals, I want to say Knicks. I really do.
You got the Knicks. So y'all both
Nah,
got
but
the...
for real, seriously.
So y'all both got the Knicks beating Boston?
I think they could beat Boston. I think they could.
I got Boston going through a tough Miami series.
Yeah,
and
I
if
think they
they
beat
win
Boston.
that, which they should. They should pretty much handle Cleveland. Yeah, but I like the Knicks though.
The
Like the
Knicks.
Knicks, yeah.
And you like? And who you got, TJ?
For the finals, I'm gonna go with the Nuggets and the Celtics.
Okay.
Because we supposed to get that last year, and I think the Nuggets get them out of here.
Okay. Last question for y'all before I throw y'all off my set. You understand that LeBron James is number 2 all time, right? Not number 1, right?
I got LeBron.
My nephew, has LeBron James as the GOAT
In terms of
over Michael Jordan.
You know what?
Over Michael Jordan.
You know what won me over? I compare LeBron's Laker years to Michael Jordan's Wizard years, and one is a lot better than the other.
Longevity.
LeBron James, you compare his Laker
years to Michael Jordan.
See, that's just ignorant. That's just ignorant. What you do is you're supposed to take LeBron at his best, MJ at his best, in their prime of their careers, and that is how you're supposed to judge it.
I judge you off of how you age, because when you the best, you the best.
No, you can't go by how the game has changed.
When you lose the advantages that you had when in your prime.
You recognize how physical the game was in the 80s and the 90s compared to what it is now, the soft as cottonelle tissue game that they play now? You know what I'm saying? Where you can get called for foul for having bad breath. You talk about that?
Bron is in a part of 3 eras, though. This is year 30 for him.
Yeah, 30.
TJ, I can't listen to Josh no more. Go ahead, TJ.
In terms of overall basketball player, I think he's the greatest of all time.
Who?
LeBron.
LeBron?
Over the span of decade, I mean,
Neither
we've
of
seen
y'all
him dominate.
have Michael Jordan as the GOAT.
I mean, I was like 6 when he was really hooping, so.
Done with the 90s. Nah,
I'm joking.
I'm
Nah,
about
LeBron,
who you was playing. I know you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to go. You won't see these boys again. I'm just so disgusted. It's a betrayal without question. You know, they're coming on my show and they're acknowledging that somebody else is the GOAT as opposed to Michael Jordan. They did it on purpose to sabotage my show. They damn sure didn't tell me they were going to say that shit, okay? But I'll deal with them later when we go off the air. I got to get on out of here. I got NBA Countdown all weekend long on ABC and ESPN, Saturday night from LA, Sunday as well. Plus, I'll be covering the NBA players for ESPN and ABC throughout the playoffs. So I'll be in and out of town, in and out of studio, all over the place, running around. My nephew Josh, my nephew TJ. I love them to death, but I'm gonna still kick their ass when we get off the air. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Talk to y'all next week. Have a beautiful and wonderful week and stay blessed. Peace and love, everybody.